we'll actually be talking about a very interesting topic, and we will be talking about our favorite Netflix shows. Hindi, joke lang.
Oh,
We'll be
5 minutes
talking
na
about
may
a
break.
very
I don't mind that. I don't mind that
So
conversation.
yun,
that's
that's
gonna be a very
yun.
interesting topic. Yeah. But for tonight, we're actually going to be talking about dance education, especially amidst this pandemic, and how education and teaching has been shifting throughout the past months and the past year. So yeah, here in the panel, we have a lot of dedicated teachers and innovators. Everyone just really striving to do what they gotta do to just keep things afloat.
Tired now.
Everything. So yeah, today we'll be talking about dance education and also mentorship programs because almost everyone here in this panel has their own 2 cents to share about everything. What's up, guys? Before we start, is there anything you guys wanna maybe give a quick shout out to any of our viewers, real quick, ever meron? PJ is shouting out something, but you're mute.
Hi, everyone. Sorry. No, I'm mute. And we've got 12 viewers. So to all you 12, thank you for tuning in. Please share and hopefully we'll get more people.
Awesome sauce.
Sanay
James and
parang likha
Shayna, anything you
creation.
guys want to like just quick shout outs before we formally start?
I'm nervous.
Well, we can say hi to the people that commented.
Yeah.
There's Daniela and Ash Vinder. So
Oh,
they're
Ash!
watching. And also Erica is watching. Erica,
Hello.
Danny
always so
pala yun.
supportive, Erica.
All right, awesome. So yeah, awesome sauce. Don't be shy. Just comment, guys. We'll try to check out the comments and try to add any of the things that you guys comment below to our discussion. Or if you guys do have any questions, just hit them up. Now, we're gonna start with a really simple question, no? For our panelists, and basically we want to start the discussion by introducing dance education and how we experienced dance education before COVID. You know, I mean, before the lockdown last year. So I'm gonna enter this real quick. Like for me, obviously, like as a teacher in the university, dance education has been widely done on site in the studios and schools and different venues, whether informal or formally. So yeah, let me give the mic real quick to PJ to share his insights on pre-COVID.
Okay, pre-COVID, I was not as much of an educator because I really put my dance education teaching on hold so that I could do creative shows. So I was mostly booked to choreograph events, shows, and then I would just hold intensives, like pockets only when I could. And that's shifted now, which we'll talk about later. So that's where I was back then. So I was even able to teach at noon, so I can turn it over to Shayna.
Yeah, I mean, pre-pandemic, yeah, I was just teaching pretty much every week at the studio because Nude Floor we opened Nude Floor 2019, so I spent a lot of time at the studio. So I guess that's where most of my time was spent teaching. Yeah, I don't know. I was just teaching every week at the studio and wasn't really doing a lot of creative stuff, I guess, because I didn't have as much time. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome. You guys should check out Nude Floor and their Facebook group, Instagram, or whatever accounts they have. We'll definitely link it below. James, what's up, my man?
Hello. So yeah, I was also teaching at Nude Floor before COVID, and then yeah, I would siguro want some one-on-ones sa fort, just like that. But mostly it was really Nude Floor every weekend. So yun, parang yeah, that was my regular schedule.
Awesome. So yeah, actually that's very interesting because so obviously the studio setting is a very formal setting, right? And then academically in the university also another formal setting. James actually does quote unquote informal settings because he does a lot of the one-on-ones, right? And you guys actually just pick a spot in BGC, you know what I mean, or sa gitna ng mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's actually just where where they dance. And I think that that accommodates a lot of I think just dance in general, no, like from the classical styles to contemporary to street dance and all that. It's a wide variety of different settings. Like for street dance, there are a lot of sessions happening in, you know, in CCP, in BGC, and in studios, and in contemporary as well. I'm sure PJ can also attest to it. Na apart from the studio, may mga other initiatives happening then around the metro, metro. But everything's live, no? Everything's live, and dance is so social.
Yeah.
It's so personal. It's so you and the other person or the group in a three-dimensional space sharing that energy. And then COVID hits. And then COVID is like, you know what? I'm gonna come in your dancing space and I'm gonna push everyone spaces and meters apart. So we had COVID, and then obviously everyone here has been adjusting for the past few months. So the next question is actually, what are the differences, or what are what are the shifts, the radical changes, and that you guys have seen and also experienced and still continuing to experience in dance education in the past months, in the past year. So yeah, let me throw it back to let's go in reverse, and let me bring it back to James.
Okay, one siguro bang observations lang Parang there was a time na sobrang I guess it started with a lot of steezy, dance tutorial apps, and then like everybody was into that, and then classes, di ba? Meron pa rin classes online. I personally have not taught kasi nahihirapan ako. so so yeah, there were classes online, and then there were a little bit of mentorships. You were doing it, the back reflex. You were already doing it when it started, and yeah, and then so it was a lot of a mix of that, and then suddenly nawala din. And then suddenly nag-rise biglang like a lot of mentorships from like different choreographers, different teachers, and suddenly parang dance education has become more siguro personal in a way, or siguro less of like walk-in type, but more of like pick my class, pick my teacher, and some parang ganong setup. Yeah, yun yung napansin ko.
Exactly. How about Shayna? Shayna owns again Nude Floor. Hashtag Nude Floor. Hashtag Nude Floor. Hashtag Nude Floor. And definitely that has been like a radical change, right? So share with us your experiences, and even right now, managing the studio.
Yeah, I mean, just like James was saying, I feel like everything has become more of an individual learning, because before you go, yeah, you choose your studios that you go to, or you go to class also for that social aspect and that energy you get with each other, learning together. And now, like, I feel like it's more individual learning. So I think that's why there is a rise of like mentorship programs, because
Mhm.
now everyone's really focused on themselves and what they can improve on as a dancer, rather than that like social aspect and learning together, I think. Yeah.
Awesome, exactly. And let me just like add to that for you, because you do own Nude Floor. Hashtag Nude Floor. Hashtag Nude Floor. How has it been though, like for the studio? Because I'm sure you could probably speak for other studios as well in terms of managing and then having to adjust, education online, but also still keeping the studio afloat.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with Nude Floor, like I didn't want to yeah, initially there were a lot of classes going online when the pandemic hit, and I actually had to assess whether or not it was important or useful if Nude Floor also added on to the classes that were being provided for, because now I guess the physical location wasn't a barrier, and now everything was online. And pretty much the faculty of Nude Floor, they were all doing their own classes. So I didn't really want to take away from that. So I guess we wanted to create classes or curate classes that were um, not there yet. So I think that's why we did nude floor sessions, which was more than just dance. We had other art forms as well, just to keep everyone inspired in a different way. Um, yeah, because I really felt like it was so saturated with so many classes already. So it was kind of hard for me to also tell the instructors to be like, okay, you can only teach for me because I mean, why, right? Because like they can do it
Exactly.
on their own, yeah. So that was hard from a business point of view, definitely. Um, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great point where actually the location itself, right? The venue in itself, the studio in itself, that which is the main business of studios is actually to provide that the venue suddenly disappears because everything's online. So your teachers can technically just hold as long as they have a Zoom account, right? But it's amazing that I think Nude Flora came up with a way, just like what you said, to curate certain classes and certain services because I think that's definitely what's going to keep you how can I say this, like keep you relevant in, well, for the lack of a better term, relevant in a way that you're always offering something fresh, so people always have a reason to just go to you instead of like becoming oversaturated with too many of the same classes, right? And then of course our next panelist, he is actually part of the cat ph, as what mentioned a while ago, in galao.ph, and they've actually been doing a lot of activities online. And just what PJ mentioned, before the pandemic, the way you said you were doing more like performances, choreographing and all that. And then suddenly pandemic, so so biglang nawala yun. So and then now I can see actually online like you're doing a lot of your classes and you're offering a lot of different programs. So can you share with our Facebook viewers?
Um, what happened in the start of the pandemic for me was we didn't know what was going to happen. So to help everyone just cope with the pandemic, we started to offer online live classes. And the goal was really not to start a school, to start a teaching program, but the goal was for everyone to not worry about the pandemic and what was going to happen, but just to keep moving. So that was our goal, to move people. And then I think a click happened. Like people recognized that their aspirations for dancing was suddenly a reality or a possibility, and that people that stopped dancing because of traffic issues or budget issues or whatever issues they had in life, they're like, oh, I can actually dance again. And I think that became a spring point to our intensives in Galao. And it's not your normal class because we offer it in a cycle basis because we really want to invest in the student and we want them to achieve their aspirations. So that's our goal now. And aside from it being a personal thing, it started as a personal thing for us, similar to what Shayna was saying. But what happened now, since it's an intensive for us, a lot of the students keep signing up for first cycle to the next cycle, and then they're all growing together. So it also becomes a communal energy. So even if we're not physically together, we're all growing together. At kung nahihirapan sila sa isang step, lahat sila nahihirapan, tapos sila nagtutulungan or something. So that for us now is where we are. Na dance is possible, and we just have to keep dancing, keep moving. So it's opened a lot of doors. The pandemic is actually a blessing for me and for a lot of people because dance is possible. So, ang sarap. Ang sarap sabihin. Kinikilabutan ako.
Awesome. That is actually, yeah. I want to like stay on this topic a little longer before we dive into like the modes of education, because I think like of course no one would have wanted this pandemic to actually happen, right? Like but but the what it forced people to do, as I've seen, is actually to reconfigurate and recalibrate their priorities in dance, or actually just their general outlook, right? And it brought about a lot of benefits in terms of just the holistic your holistic point of view of dance. Suddenly the social aspect is gone. So like you're in your own home. You might not be able to dance with other people. There's a lack of that connection live. But then there's also another door that opened that actually created new connections in a different format. So let me add to this question. just to piggyback on what PJ already brought up, what are the, and I think James and I had this talk as well before, and other talks. What are the apparent silver lining, or benefits of this? I'm not gonna say of this pandemic, of what the pandemic forced forced us to shift. So anything you guys want to share, or just like add to that? Let me throw it back to Shayna naman. Yeah, throw you the mic.
Got it. I feel like the sense of individuality and being more aware of your own body and your own movement, rather than, I guess, yeah, in class you get really distracted, and sometimes you want to look like someone else, or you kind of are pressured a little bit to already, maybe if it's a choreography class, you're pressured to nail it in that class. Whereas now, like, I think because we can do everything at our own time, there's less pressure for that. And because of that, you kind of really look into yourself and like are more aware of your body. So I think that's one of the good things that came out of the situation that we are in. And I think the other thing is like being able to reach out to teachers that don't necessarily, like, maybe don't live here, or are kind of out of your reach. Like, I don't know, for me, during the program, we had students from like Singapore and like Davao. So it was really cool. It was really nice to see. And yeah, that's another thing that came out of it, which is quite nice.
Awesome. PJ or James, anything you guys want to add to that, or just anything at all?
Well, on the other side of the spectrum, so for the students, they have their growth. Also, as a teacher, I felt like I grew because I had to articulate a lot of things. Normally, you demonstrate and everything was kinesthetic.
James
but
is
now
like,
you really,
yes.
but now you're just like, oh, how do I describe this? I've actually gone to science. Okay, this is your glute, this is your hamstring, this is your metatarsal. We're working on those now. You have to feel it there. So I'm actually learning a lot of things now, scientifically, even how to use metaphors to achieve things. How to teach a person right and left on Zoom is such a struggle. It's the biggest struggle of them all. And you're just finding every device possible to get your students to a particular point where they can understand. So for me as a teacher, it's opening my horizons on how to communicate dance and translate information. So this for me is such a big silver lining.
Bam.
I see James clapping.
Yeah, James is clapping. He's ready. He's ready to say something, or
He's gonna teach
go
us
for it,
right
James.
and left.
It's so true kasi like honestly, I wasn't really dancing every day even before this happened. But this time, like, you have a lot of students, you have to you have to demonstrate, and sometimes there are students who can't really understand through demonstration, so you have to like explain ganito, and like learning from different students too. Like sometimes I have ballet students, or not street dance students. You learn the language that you need to say. You don't say relax lang or loose. That means different.
Basta feel mo lang.
So honestly, like, as a teacher, sobrang nag-grow ako in understanding, like, oh, okay, different backgrounds, different levels of experience in dance have different ways of communicating. And as a teacher, you should be able to learn that to translate your movement. And it's like, sabihin mo, like, it's a screen. Now you can just copy. That's not true. Alam mo yun, like, if you really want to translate it through the screen effectively, you have to learn a way to communicate, not just, just and even then, parang in a way to relate to the different students. Because right now, yung siguro one silver lining is you have a wider range of students, because like yun nga sabi nga ni PJ and Shayna, like, people who felt like they can't dance in a studio setting because of intimidation, now they can just dance for themselves, like, not
Exactly.
anybody else. actually you can turn off the video, diba, and still attend the class. So
Yes.
in a way, it's like still it's like a new social. You know, like they're being socially there, but like they can do the class for themselves. And some students would actually attend class still for the social aspect of it, you know, like they could probably get you to teach like one-on-ones, but they want, do you have a group or can I join a group that you're teaching? So parang they still learn a lot from each other, even if they're not really
Yeah.
with each other. So parang it feels like, wow, people are connecting, you know, like, and like as much as we really hate, you know, like technology, just social media connection, it's like it's actually pushing people to connect after the class, you know, like,
Yeah.
and people connecting to you as a teacher that after the class too. So it feels like, oh, I have new relationships now. I have new friends now. I don't have just, you know, students. I have, you know, these people who want to get constantly mentored, or when is your next class? Alam mo yun, biglang naging
Yeah.
ganun na siya. And they see your house. So, so then,
You guys feel homey.
it's like nice, you know, nice plants, nice window.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, yun lang. It's like it suddenly becomes a new kind of social and a
Yeah,
new kind of
exactly.
personal being a teacher in this setting.
And for some strange reason, right? Like I know like we're all like disconnected in person but connected online. But sliding like a DM seems like easier than approaching someone in live, especially if you're a new student, right? So I actually get a lot of messages like asking about certain students asking about certain things, and I just get surprised where like or where well I guess in live naman people still do ask, but somehow there's that sense of comfort because you know you're just sending a snail mail. It's like that, sending a snail mail instead of you putting yourself out there. So in my point of view, like the benefits, right, like there's so many things we can like bounce off of, but I would say like for students it's like a wake up call, like a slap on the face, like whoa, like why am I dancing? Because suddenly, you know, the social aspect is gone. The enjoyment of just being in the environment of an A class or what I mean, all the hype, it's suddenly gone. And they now, you know, for it could work for some people, it might not work for some people, but the fact of the matter is like it's been a year where people have this existential crisis with their dance. Why am I dancing? What am I doing it for? Do I do it every day? Do I really like it? Do I like the dance itself, or do I like the social aspect? And I think it's a good thing that people have this time to reflect. I mean, of course, no one wants the pandemic to come back. We won't say like it's a pandemic season again, you know what I mean? So no one wants it to come back. But it's been a good it's been a good like, time for people just like reflect, and maybe also in this generation where we're overrun by technology in a certain, which is ironic now. I say we're isolated with technology, but before this isolation, the art and dance most especially has been overrun with technological advances that changes the platforms and the face of dance. Like from before, from like having concept videos to short choreo videos to now TikTok videos, and it's a good period where people actually ask themselves, the students ask themselves like, what do I enjoy? Am I creative? Am I like a creative person to make concept videos, or am I just like, do I just like dance for dance? You know what I mean? And it's always good to have to get over, or not really get over, but get through this hump, this question. You know what I mean? And hopefully, cross fingers, students can come out better out of it, out of this pandemic season. And when we get into our on-site events or classes, maybe there's that rejuvenated feeling, or like, yeah, like a sense of like, yeah, I know where dance is in my life. And just like what PJ said and James said also, for those students before who transcended to work and suddenly now are like, you know what, I can dance anywhere. I can, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna experience FOMO because no one can go to class. So we're all just here. We're all just here online. Um, right. You know what I mean? So there's that feeling of like we're all in this together in a weird sense of a way. Now we're all in this pandemic together, so we all actually can connect. So that's like what I can share for students. And for as a teacher naman, exactly what PJ and James said, like as a teacher, you are challenged to see your priorities as a teacher. Because I know some teachers are there because they love the teaching environment, but they're not necessarily student centered. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's just how that's a teaching style, that's
Mm-hmm.
that's the type of teacher they are. And there are some teachers who are actually really student centered. They're not focused on their content. They're just focused on like, are you getting better? You know what I mean? And there are also some teachers who are a mix of both. So I think this season was a great. I shouldn't say great amidst the pandemic. Was a fortunate season, not season, period, wherein I keep saying that, wherein like teachers get to assess themselves, right? Like, am I doing a good job? Am I communicating like what PJ said, what James and Shayna said? Like, are we really assessing our students in a way where we also get to reconfigure our teaching style, because not
Mhm.
everyone learns the same way, not everyone learns the same pace. And that's actually where we're going to hop on to the next topic, which is changing the mode of education from big classes to suddenly popping up mentoring programs, or maybe we don't maybe even need to call it mentoring programs, but more like one-on-one personal programs for dance education, right? So that's my segue.
I segue.
Segue. That's my segue
In
to the next
fairness.
question. So because of the rise of mentoring programs or classes or personal one-on-one teaching, um, the next question is, what is a mentor for you guys personally? We could all have different definitions of it, even based on our experiences in our personal life. But what is a mentor for you guys, and how is it different, if you feel it's different, from a coach and a teacher? Very interesting topic, and we could all have like the different answers, but all accurate. You know what I mean? So let me throw. I don't know who to throw it to, but so anyone who wants to get first dibs,
I can go.
go for it.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a good question because there's like a thin line for me. There's like a thin line, or yeah, there are levels like to being a coach and a teacher to being a mentor. Um, I personally think a mentor kind of goes into a deeper level than just like teaching a technique or a style or something like that. Like a mentor really kind of gets to know the students, I guess, almost life, like how they learn, what's going on in their lives, because that affects their art. And yeah, like I feel like it's one step further from just being a teacher who teaches you some like moves. A mentor really checks in as well, with you, and there's like that follow up, which I think during the pandemic, that's kind of what happened with teachers, because it was so easy to go on. Like in Nude Floor, we have these Telegram groups of the classes. So everyone kind of checked in on each other after the class. So I feel like that's why maybe there's a sudden rise in like mentorships, because now we're like so much more in it with your students. Like James was saying earlier, like now we have new relationships. With your students that you wouldn't usually have, I guess, in casual classes. Like, if like there's a huge group of people who come to your class, you're not really going to speak to each and every one of them and know how they're feeling. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because there's just no time, and like, or it just wasn't a thing for them to message you afterwards. So yeah, I feel like mentorship is definitely something, or is considered something different from a teacher. Just in terms of that time and energy, that extra time and energy that the mentor should spend with the student to really understand the student and how he or she learns from me.
Nice, awesome sauce. That like wrapped up a lot of major points actually. PJ or James, anything you guys want to add to
I'll
that?
jump off what Shayna already started. And for me, a mentor is exactly that. There's an investment in the student's life beyond just the technique. And that for me is because a mentor is somebody that guides the student or the person. It's not a student anymore. You think of them as apprentices or future artists already, burgeoning artists, and the job of the mentor is to burgeon that artist, if that's the right term for it, but to get them to the point where they can create on their own. And I that's how I view people that mentored me. They gave me the tools so that I could make things on my own. Of course, I started with mimicry. I mimicked them first, and then they helped me find a voice. So that for me is a mentor, helping an artist find their voice using the techniques that they teach, the life lessons that they teach, and they understand from the world, the things that they understand from the world. That for me is a mentor.
Awesome sauce. It's not just like teaching a man to fish, but rather teaching a man to upgrade the fishing tools. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
A
Metaphors.
good mentor makes a better artist. Like the idea is your student should be better than you at the end of the day. So
exactly.
if anything, that's a good mentor.
Exactly. They should be able to beat me in a battle like that, or beat James.
Yeah.
Exactly. Pero mahirapin sila kay James ata. So let me throw it to James. Go for it, James.
Wait, ano daw yung spelling ng version?
Google na lang natin.
No, but I really like the word, yung the term, yung finding your voice. Kasi I feel like that's something people got to get aware of, that they actually have here. Kasi nga, like, the awareness of, like, I'm not just any other student in a class anymore. So what do I really want? So after figuring that out, and then they attend some classes, and then they figure, do I want to continue this? Do I want to be like my teacher or my mentor? And then they will try to go for you, diba? Like, to copy you, to get to a point that they look like you. And then the mentor will definitely want the student to achieve that, and then to a point na push them to where their voices. It sounds so it sounds so abstract, pero yun talaga siya eh, diba? Like being a mentor is like don't stay looking at me, like, go for what you really feel like you're meant to do. So parang I feel like mentor, yeah.
Meant to do.
Meant to do. That's what you're meant for.
Yes.
Anyway. Sorry.
Okay, keep going.
But yeah, like, I feel like in terms of the street dance community, what I noticed is the word mentor is kind of like easily thrown out. I mean, recently then, because like I feel like it's a new way of teaching, so people don't really kind of still siguro understand what it really means, or how it's different from a choreography class or like a technique class. So parang it's like, the easiest way to say it is mentorship, diba? Parang in a street dance community, it's like when you're doing a mentorship, you're gonna go through a cycle or a series of classes with me, para siyang ganun. But like I really agree with Shayna and PJ. It's more than just that cycle. Usually, because if I were to do it, for example, like the street, if I were just to do it in the way the street dance community defines it, after the 4 sessions or 5 sessions, I would leave the student alone. So parang, and that's okay. But like sabi nga ni Shayna and PJ, like being a mentor is actually digging in, not really digging in their lives, but asking what affects their dance or their artistry.
What are you doing today?
What time did you sleep? I don't know, like it affects their dance and the way they dance in the class and after the class. Because it definitely, I'm sure that a mentor always has something extra after the class, like a homework or anything, because it's not like pay me and I teach you. It's not like that. It's like I'm gonna give my customized advice for you, because you're a different kind of artist. He's different or she's different kind of artist. So a mentor is able to do that. So in a way, there is a big responsibility to not just be like, okay, I taught you this style, I taught you this technique, I taught you this dance, then like you're good to go. Like, okay ka na. Like that's probably That's okay, like probably, but like being a good mentor is then reassuring the student that like if I push you out into the world and do your thing, I want to make sure you look good and you feel good with how you move, how you dance, and how you whatever you do with your art. So yeah, it actually takes a lot from you as the
Yes.
mentor, but super worth it. Like when you see your students like flying, oh my gosh, like whoo, when I see my students, like that's what I tell my wife and my friends, like I love my job. I mean, when I see this, it's like ah, yun lang. So yeah, that's from my point of view.
May I
Awesome.
jump?
Awesome.
May I
Go,
jump
go,
back
go for it,
a
PJ.
little bit? Because when we're talking about voice, it's about saying something,
Mm.
and dance is saying things through your body. And what do we want to say? And I think that's when we go into the idea of what is dance, as it's an art form, and the best form of art are the most true forms of art, where
Mm.
you speak of truth, and that's what we as mentors can give our students, that access to their truth. So what is their truth? And that's what I want to espouse as a mentor. And these people
Mm.
are the same. So I'm proud to be in this company. That's it.
Hey,
Um,
magpakatotoo ka. Royal Truthorn.
Yes.
All right. Amazing answers, guys. Thank you so much for that. Especially for all the viewers listening, viewers watching, viewers not listening, but all the viewers watching. If you guys also actually have any comments or questions, just chime in below, and then I will also try to check out if I can refresh my Facebook. But yeah, so actually, I wanna piggyback a bit on what James said about the term mentor in the street dance community, right? Because right now it's used honestly like mentorship programs. It's actually used as a label to describe a certain service, right? Now it's not just a class, it's not just coaching, it's one-on-one intensive. But if we like, in my opinion, and this is like going back to exactly what Shayna started in the discussion, right? Like a mentor is deeper than it's a deeper transcendence to your relationship with the students compared to a teacher carrying out teaching something or a coach coaching you towards a certain objective. A true mentor for me, like regardless if it's dance or like life or accounting, a true mentor kind of organically happens when the other person's already indirectly in a position that stays in the other person's life in a certain way. You know what I mean? So we can have mentoring programs and we can have these services, but the you become for me, yeah, this for everyone out there, I'm just saying this is like how I understand it, and also from the all the TED Talks I listen to. Hashtag Simon Sinek. You can call yourself a mentor when you've reached that relationship with your students, when you actually become a mentor to someone, and you guys are actually your friends. You become friends. You have that connection wherein like apart from leaving them what they need in this world to grow, that you're actually still attached in a certain way. Now, regardless if it's like asking a question or actually going through a certain experience, like you're forever gonna be a mentor, a figure of wisdom. Parang masyadong deep naman yung wisdom. Actually, kind of just a figure to like lean on, and that's for me. That's what a true mentor is, and you get that status when you get that relationship. But by all means, like what James said, you can have your mentoring programs and call it mentoring program. You can have your coaching programs or teaching programs. But yun yeah, uh, like for me that when Shayna said it's being part of your life, like that's super true, and that makes me wonder nga na parang who are my mentors kaya? Who are my mentors ba in this life? And that's actually our next question. Um, who ang galing na.
Walang segue.
Galing na ano. It's like sewed together like mighty pond. So yeah, that's the next question. Do you guys have anything to share? Like maybe a personal story or like who are your mentors? Who do you consider your mentors before? Tama ba yung question ko? Tama.
Yeah.
Any just double checking it. Notes. if you guys have any personal stories or anecdotes about people you consider as mentors, or and how do you feel that they helped you grow. So let's flip it a bit. Like I'll go first naman, because since I already um, leaped off it, and I was already in a question of parang, sino nga ba mentors ko in this world? Apart from, my mom and my sister, obviously. Like siguro we take away family, medyo ano na yun, cheats na yun. Like obviously they are, right? And I really thought about it. I was like, I have a lot of like breaking mentors or dancing mentors in a way that they help shape my dance and develop my style. But in the definition that I gave, like, who is my mentor? Like, who's the dude, right? Or the girl, And I realized that, and this is taking this from Simon Sinek. I don't know if you guys know him. He's a businessman. He's a inspirational speaker. He says that sometimes mentoring is actually like, you both mentor each other. Like you become someone in this other person's life, and then in return, actually, there's reciprocation in terms of how you guys are growing. So I honestly would say I think Phil is like one of my mentors in life. See Phil Pamintuan, if you guys don't know him, is like he's like one of the OG crumpers.
Amazing. So
yeah,
amazing.
Si Phil, right? So we're batchmates in Ateneo, and ever since I met him in 2006, wow, grabe no, tagal na. It's been like a friendship, but at the same time, I've grown so much through that friendship, and that there's certain aspects in my life that I actually just lean on him, and I'm just like, so what do you think about this? And it creates a mentorship relationship. So even if I don't say in a parang he's my mentor, there is that sort of mentorship relationship that I get from him, but he also gets from me at time to time, and it's cool. I think that's the closest thing. Like I always call him like my brother. I think that's the closest thing to a mentor that I could actually have. So that's me. That's my personal anecdote. So yeah, and if you have who are your mentors? Sino nga ba? Who made Shayna? Hindi naman made, or your parents made you guys, obviously. But sorry guys, it's a Saturday. Anyone wants to take the microphone away from me?
Yeah, I mean, jumping off, I'll go. What you were saying, I think for me, when I read that question, I was like, who are my mentors? Because yeah, like I don't think there is just one person. For me, when I thought about it, I think the people who are in my life, which usually are like my peers, maybe especially my friends who I guess learned how to dance with. Because until now, all my friends in Australia, like we follow each other's dance journey, and we're still very much inspired by each other. And for me, even if we don't speak, I consider them my mentors. And I think it's constantly changing too. So I really draw inspiration, and mentoring is like giving direction, right? So for me, I draw inspiration from my peers and everyone around me, and I'm just really inspired by everyone who is in a similar field as me, and that's kind of where I draw mentorship from. So I don't really have one person in particular.
Awesome. You have many.
Many.
So do you
All
you
of you.
mentioned that you guys follow each other, right? Do you guys also follow each other online? And yeah. So for everyone listening, make sure you follow Shayna, James. Click follow online
Subscribe.
and subscribe.
Like, subscribe.
All right, so moving on to that was an icebreaker. Moving on, like PJ or James, who are your mentors, if there are any, or a singular person, or it could be a lot of people?
Okay, I'll
or,
jump on in
Yeah,
already.
go for it.
I mean, I have multiple mentors also, not just for dance, for choreography, also for acting, directing, things like that. So it's so hard to isolate just one. And right now, I'm going to isolate it to dance, and I really want to mention them because they really made an impact in my life. And my very first mentor was James La Fortesa, who came from power dance, and then he went to steps. I met him at trumpets, and I was 21 years old taking a theater workshop, and he was like, "You know what? You can still dance." And I'm like, "Yeah, maybe. I'm 21 years old." And he was like, No, you can still dance. Do you want to dance? Yes, I want to dance. Oh, come to Steps. We'll get you a scholarship. We'll give you that
Ooh.
scholarship. And he took a chance on me and he kept giving me classes. He was also the first person to make me teach a dance class, him and his wife. And his wife, Lisa, also took it upon herself to mentor me. So she would so I'm going to mention her, Lisa La Fortesa. She would pull me to the side. PJ, do you know how to count music? Let me teach you. This is 2/4, this is 4/4, this is 3/4, this is 5/8, this is that. She would give me essays on how I should play Rothbard and Swan Lake. And when my friend was doing Romeo and Juliet, he's like, help her. She needs to act better. Here's the essay. Study this, read this. So she was that kind of person. So now when I approach choreography, I'm the same. I really read up. I understand who I'm dancing for, why am I dancing, where am I going. And then of course, Sofia Zobel Elizalde, who's the head of Steps Dance Studio, she took me in. She was like, interview, he can't he can't dance, but he has the drive. Let's take him in. And then now she's also become a mentor for leadership in dance. Like she's helping me set up my own programs in school, and she's helped Lekha PH so much. And trust me, all the things that we did in Lekha PH was supported by her, and she was guiding us at each step of the way. So
Super
that
cool.
for me is like a mentor. She's not just there to, oh, here's some donation, bahala na kayo. She was there really, you know what, we have to do this right. We have to do this well. We have to help the right people and not just be happy-go-lucky with the money that we raise. And the last mentor was Enrico Labayen. And he was a guest teacher at Steps Dance Studio. So I'm going to keep mentioning Steps, which is where I started. And he was a teacher. He was teaching advanced ballet. And I was, pardon my French, SHIT. And I couldn't do anything. But he really taught me how to dance with freedom and without judgment. So this is the thing that I'm mentoring my students now. So I'm teaching a lot of contemporary ballet, and a lot of them are like 20s, 30s, started dance classes only in the pandemic. And they're like, why are you judging yourself? You don't need to judge yourself. So this is my time to pay back. So that was my that mentor. He was my teacher for a year and a half. And then now I'm using what he's taught me, and I'm really grateful for him now. So I really want to mention all four. So that's it for me. James
That
La
is
Fortesa,
awesome.
Lisa La Fortesa, Sofia Zobel Elizalde, and Enrico Labayan. These are my four mentors.
The big four. That is
The big
awesome. And I grab, like I just from that story, I could say that Steps actually provided your first step. So yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, my girlfriend's looking at me right now like yeah, that's super awesome. And I'm sure like from that story, I'm sure like years from now, if there's another lecture, another talk with like the next generation, I'm sure someone would be like, yeah, my mentor before, Shayna Cua, she said, come to nude floor. Yun na yun. Come to nude floor. Parang ganun na yan. And then, pwede rin, yeah, my mentor, James Wong, he said, come to my house. That's done. Everything was in his house, but the house dance. So James, what's up, man? Ikaw. My girlfriend is like,
You're doing great, Reflex. You're doing
So, James,
amazing. I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you,
We're
PJ.
on
I
fire
appreciate
right
it.
now. We're on fire right now. Like,
I'm on
literally,
fire though. I'm on fire. Okay.
support. So,
Support.
ang dami din eh. I think what when I ask that question to myself, it's like sometimes the mentors I see don't even know I consider them my mentors. I feel like the mentors we consider are parang the biggest thing is like they have the biggest impact in your artistry or that aspect of your life. Even if like they don't know that you consider them their mentor. So siguro for me siguro the longest one, the person, yes, it is gonna be cheesy. The person who taught me dance is JB since high school. So
Wow.
so like yeah, he was the only guy who knew how to dance in high school. So I wanted to impress a girl, and then I got into dancing na, and then until now we're still dancing together. And even if he doesn't know, and he's gonna deny it for sure, when I, for example, watch whatever he makes or he creates like online, it's like, oh, okay, I get new ideas from him, or I like we're peers, but like I consider him like a mentor in artistry and in a lot of stuff too. So and then siguro for me personally, I have mentors depending on the dance style that I learned, because I kind of, so parang I take classes from different teachers, but I choose who I want to speak most in the way I dance that dance style. So for freestyle, it's definitely Vince Mendoza from the All Stars.
Yeah.
He unlocked my potential, like everything. Like he had me unlearn everything I knew in college, and then set this like crazy person free. And ever since then, like I discovered myself, the music I like, that I'm not really just a street dancer. I love dance and movement, whatever it is. So like I owe that to Vince.
So
And
was
then
Vince the first guy to unlock before
yeah,
you unlocked?
yeah, yeah.
Unlockception.
Yeah, and he just did siguro like 4 classes with us na it's all contemporary. It's all not street dance based. And for me, like, wow, this is a new perspective in that. So that opened my perspective a whole lot. And then siguro for popping, it's Rashad. He's from the States. He doesn't know it. He also tells me, I'm not your mentor, I'm just your teacher. But for me, like, he's like I consider him the biggest figure in the way I dance that style, because like I've been dancing it for a long time, like probably more than 10 years. But when he taught me since 2017, that's the only time I was confident enough that I had a voice. Siguro yun. Yun, I had a voice in that certain style. Sa house, si Future from the States then. Ayun, I can't say ang dami na for the other styles. But yun, basically, it's per dance style. But yun, the main two, I guess, is yung si JB and si Vince. Yun, for my...
JB, you hear that? He hears it. He's taking notes. He's taking notes.
More bread
Did you know nakaklase ko sa Vince sa ballet class before, years ago, early 2000s, kaklase ko si Vince sa ballet class. Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. at the CCP.
Wow.
7 a.m.
He wasn't Crazy Beans yet. He was studying to be.
He was
ballet
early
dancer.
beans. That was pretty early. 7
That
a.m.
was early Beans. Yeah. Bean sprout.
Doon ako na-surprise sa 7 a.m. Oh, dang.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Amazing. That's cool, no? How like we're all kind of like we have like these connections with each other through dance and just like the past decades. Crazy. I think actually PJ here is the most recent that I actually met, right? Like I think a year ago through Rosam as well. And then Shayna and James, like we go way back, way back. And yeah, so many nice, right? So many nice anecdotes with your mentors, and some being some as you guys said, some of them might not know that sila pa yung mentor. So some of them, I guess, are like, if they ever listen to this, surprise, you are. It made me think a little deeper, no? Parang shucks, sino pa ba? And actually, I have to give a shout out then to actually Kuya Von, like Von Asilo. He's from the crew in the UP Street before. He was actually my first ever coach in high school. Sa Seed, yeah. People don't know that high school, but he was my first ever coach. And even though like my dance career in the past 2 decades have changed, and we've never had this like continuing like teacher student in terms of danza, but he's always been there like supporting me and like at my side. So if ever Quavon's watching, surprise, for sure. Surprise. But I honestly think it's important to have a mentor, or at least a mentor figure in your life, because it's one of those things. Excuse me, sorry. Nagbibinata pa. When he won this year, okay. It's one of those things that really like that mentor figure that really kind of helps direct you, and I think that's the most applicable term, no? Direct you towards a certain path more than tell you what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I guess that's the biggest difference from of a director of a teacher and coach. Although they also do that in a certain way, but comparing to like a mentor, like the mentor. I'm sure JB directed James how to impress that girl. You know what I mean? So I'm saying JB, we know what's up.
But I mean,
Um,
like you're both, right? I mean, you're a coach,
mm,
you're a teacher,
mhm,
you're a teacher of street dance in Ateneo, and you're also
mhm.
like a mentor. So, what do you think for you, like the small differences of
Ah,
say,
right. That's a great question. I think it'll come down to, for the lack of a better term, the job description, or like, because I think everything's purpose driven, and the labels are there to, well, they're all just labels, but they're there to try to define a little bit of that difference, like what you said. So I think Ateneo, like I'm a teacher, I'm faculty, so I'm there to teach a specific subject. So it's driven. My goal is to be able to teach this particular subject to a number of students in the most effective way I can. So at the end of the day, at the end of the semester, they get to know and they get to appreciate this subject. As a coach, I'm there to coach them as individuals, but also as the entire company. You know, the direction of the
Mhm.
company, the goals of the company, the mission, vision. So I have to coach them to make better decisions and to come up with lesson plan, agendas, training regimen towards that collective goal as the company of Ateneo dancers and also as individuals within the company of Ateneo dancers. But as a mentor, um, and I think you guys can also share them right after I give this answer because you guys have your own programs. As a mentor, I feel that I'm not necessarily like we can start off as me mentoring you towards this dance or towards certain goals that you like, but after that, it's always in a constant state of like perpetuating what's next for you and I. Parang ganun. So, see, I'm
Mhm.
gonna give a shout out. So here, si Carlos, Mr. Carlos Serrano, right? So he took 4 of my mentoring programs, right? And then I know, right? Magis, excellence. But apart from him actually taking the programs, it's the drive to that we're always in touch. He's always messaging me about like, yo, Kuya, what do you think about this? And sometimes I message him through like, yo, what are your thoughts on this? And our relationship developed more than just like, you want to take my
Mhm.
mentoring program? Let's get it. More than that, it's just became like, hey, yeah, Carlos, my dude, like that. You know what I mean? It changed from like, that's dope, you got it, to like, my dude. So I think that's the difference of for me, like how I act as a mentor is it actually does create that relationship. You know what I mean? And and siguro to plug then also my mentoring program kasi after like the 4 weeks of my mentoring program, I have this thing called post program checkup, which is like you can message me anytime to just send me videos and we can just talk about them and like no charge. Like that's just that. So yeah. So how about you guys? Like your programs, your when you guys as mentors, when you guys reach out to your students, like what is the difference? What is that perpetuating feeling that you guys get, if ever meron, that differentiates from when you teach regularly or coach or own a studio or manage a studio or manage your employees in a studio, hence also might be mentoring your employees as employees in a studio. Bilog, connect. So,
You're on a tangent, Reflex. You're going for it.
so yeah, anything you guys want to add with your programs as well?
um, Maybe I can start. I don't have a mentorship program. That's the thing. I do have classes online, but I don't really have a mentorship program. Like they want to sign up for mentorship. there's none yet. And now, actually, because of our conversation, I'm actually thinking that Galao has to get to that point where we do actually do mentorship. But we do it anyway because our students, just like Carlos, for you, it's about consistency. So if you really want to grow, you have to be consistent. And I think Carlos was consistent and persistent by enrolling again and again and practicing the craft. And that for me is how, if you want to be mentored, that's how you start. It's not just by signing up to a mentorship program, because you can't just tell the teacher, here's this much money to mentor me to become a better artist. It has to start. It has to start from you. You have to have that drive, that persistence, and the consistency to be there to practice your craft.
Yeah.
And if the teacher sees what you do, then they will invest in you, just like what Shayna said, beyond the classroom setting. And like what Reflex does and James does. And we do that in
Invest.
Galao. Like we have students that we mentor because they're consistent and they're persistent. So that for me is how you get a successful mentorship program.
Can we type that down sa chat? Hashtag consistent, persistent. Consistent, persistent.
I can do that. I got
Right?
it on.
Consistent, persistent equals
Persistent.
gets you a mentor.
Mentor.
You know?
Yeah.
Gets you somebody. Someone will choose you.
Well, not just in mentorship.
Oh, that's true. That is true. That is true.
That's right.
That is true. I mean, look at James, right? He went to JB. I want to impress a girl. Years later, he has 2 kids and a wife.
Yeah.
Consistent, persistent.
That's a
Exactly.
mentorship program.
Still ongoing.
James, ikaw, let's hop onto your mentoring program. Like, the people who you mentor, or even outside of the program itself, like any insights that you also want to share about your own experiences of the, persistence and consistency.
I really wanna, I super thank PJ for that, yung sinabi niya na it's not actually that you enter a mentorship program that you're instantly a mentee, like that makes you like, this teacher should be able to mentor me because like I went to his program, I gave my money and everything. If you think about it, if you have a lot of applicants, like 100, that's impossible for the mentor, diba? Like to invest his or her life to 100 people. So that's the
Luck challenge.
unlock challenge. But yun nga, I will get into that later. Pero yun nga, parang it's like one good thing about the being a mentee or being a mentor is also, I think one good thing to remember is that the mentors choose who to mentor. Hindi lang siya like, okay, you gave me your money, now I have to mentor you. Like, I have no choice. Hindi, I mean, we're not working like that. But like, if you think about it, if the person just really wants a certain technique and then we're done, then it's if you follow through, like sometimes it happened to me. I realized I was wasting energy. I was wasting their time because they didn't really want to dive into whatever that we're going into. The feel ko, okay, so the desire isn't there, so I will just treat this as a teaching gig or as a teaching thing. Compared to other people who has like consistency and persistence, that you can already see that na parang, okay, like this person is hungry, so like, okay, let's mentor this person. So for me, I siguro my mentorship program is all about, honestly, it's all about trying to get for their specific goals in their dance, which is really hard sa totoo lang. But like, yun nga, parang that's part of it. And siguro like for me, I have to say na, like there are students na who are not really into the mentoring thing, that they just really want to learn a dance style, and that's okay. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. As in, like, if you want to learn popping or house, whatever, let's do it, But if you want to get mentored by me or like really go deep, in a way, it's a unsaid requisite na parang I have to see something more, like if you really want this, like for example, for me, I'm curious if they do their homework or like or simply, like if the parang feel ko tinatamad lang, maybe hindi talaga. Or alam mo yun, like,
Yeah.
basta nga, you're gonna see it naman eh. Like, kung si Carlos, diba? You're gonna see it naman like, oh, okay, this person is hungry.
Yeah, yeah.
I really want to mentor it. And so, siguro for me, like, that's how I teach. Right now, I teach per dance style. I teach hacks based
Hacks.
on what I learned from my mentors na I teach ko rin sa kanila so that you can learn the dance style skipping a lot of steps that I went through for years na hindi naman pala kailangan. So I teach those ways, that a new way. But yun na, like, in terms of really mentoring somebody, like I get some from my teaching programs. I get like a few here, a few from popping, a few from house. Sometimes wala talaga. But yun, but in terms of like personally mentoring somebody, yeah, that's why I made the unlock challenge because I really want to be able to find that one person who really wants to dive in with me, like everything that I know or everything that we can share together, ganyan. So, yeah, it's a really good point na sinabi ni PJ, and I'm really thankful for that. Na the pressure is not just on the mentors to like mentor everybody, but like to actually feel like, oh, this person, yep,
Exactly.
let's go the journey. Let's yeah.
So your unlock challenge, in other words, means that they have to unlock something in you for you to pick them. That's the meaning. Because like what you
I
said,
guess.
right? It's picking someone. It's we can't be Oprah. You get a mentor. You get a mentor. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to add something because I see some of James's mentees, and I've really seen like the growth in how Mia has been doing house from last year to now.
Mm.
My
She-
gosh,
She's crazy.
she's
She's obsessed.
grown bounds and leaps, and she does her homework like crazy. At 3 a.m. in the
She
morning,
looks
she
like
does
she's
her
been doing
homework.
house her entire life,
Yeah, diba?
right?
That was her goal. Like, sabi ko, I want to make you look like you've been dancing this for years. And now she's organizing events. She's connecting internationally. Like, sabi ko, you've done like more house-related things than a lot of us here.
Yeah.
Honestly, in the street dance community.
Yeah, yeah.
Sabi ko, go for it. Like,
I totally relate when James mentioned teaching the students certain steps that you can skip because you don't have to do them. And I relate with that because look, in retrospect, there's stuff that I'm like, yeah, that time I didn't have to go do that. And I'm sure we all have our own stories with that. But I'm really curious to know Shayna's side, especially actually not just as a mentor through dance, but also since Shayna, you own a studio and you have people under you. You're the boss, right? So not to pressure you, everyone under Shayna, just no pressure. But yeah, anything you can share also about being a leader also in a studio setting?
Yeah. I think like with mentoring, we also don't really have like a specific mentor class. Like what PJ said, like the students who are the most consistent and persistent, they're the ones who we end up like our faculty anyway. You end up kind of mentoring them naturally. So kind of just comes naturally like that. I think in the studio. For me personally, I the time is really important, and like the people that do come to me for mentorship, I really have to see that our energies match, and that is actually, yes, we fit. Because otherwise, if I feel like, oh, like I feel like maybe this student is better fit with like say James or someone in the faculty, yeah, I think that as a studio owner, I really look to the teachers and I see what their connection can be with the student and the potential, and where the student kind of fits more. Um, but yeah, I think the people that I do mentor, I don't even know if I mentor a lot of people, but I think it probably would be the people who work for Nude Floor, in not just in a dance sense, but in a creative, like more broad creative aspect, and also the business aspect. I think that's really important because as an artist, it's kind of hard not to have the business aspect.
Mhm.
You won't be
Exactly.
sustainable. And I think that's what is really important with the artists, especially budding artists right now, to know.
Awesome. Quick question. Maybe you guys already have this. Maybe I just don't know. But how in Nude Floor, do you guys actually have scholarship programs, or those like dancers who want to be consistent and
Yeah.
persistent? Do you guys have scholarship programs, and can you talk about it?
Yeah, we're actually this year I think we are going towards something like that. We're actually rolling out a movement artist development program. So it's a bit longer than the usual program. So it's about 3 months. And within that, we would love to give scholarships. So we're trying to put aside some funds for that too. Yeah, so that's later this year. I think around June. Stay tuned.
Awesome. June. Hashtag that Nude Floor June Artist Development Program.
Program.
Artist Development Program, ADP. Awesome sauce. We covered so much about like the benefits actually of having. Actually, that's the last question, though. But we already covered so much about it, like the benefits of really having a mentor indirectly, and especially in this time of pandemic, where and this is actually like something I sort of foreseen, something I foresaw before the lockdown happened, is that I really sat down and I thought to myself, hey, if everything's gonna be locked down, social aspect is gone. So there's gonna be a shift in the spectrum of dancers looking for a specific thing in dance to dancers looking inwards, and there's going to be a higher demand for more individualistic programs. And so that's actually why I started my mentoring programs now. So what do you guys feel that in the past year, in this pandemic, these mentoring programs have, I think we touched on them a bit already, but maybe to like concretize them, what are the things that you guys feel that the mentoring programs have been really helping the dancers, or even probably indirectly the community, whether in the contemporary community, in the street dance community, or even the studio community? Because really we can describe the community in different ways, right? So what are the things that you feel that the mentors have been able to contribute in that sense, as a whole, or even as individuals? So this is a big broad question. So we can just like spitball here and just like throw out, yeah, like because I honestly feel that it's getting people more honest with themselves. Mentors just help dancers be more honest with themselves. So the time that they step out into the light of no more COVID, they're gonna be like just hopping into as many opportunities as they can, because parang it gives them like a not a safety net, but like a bit of like that good boost. Like, it's different when someone's like, "Kaya man," versus like, you got this. And then like, you have that person here just like, I'm here. Okay, well, maybe not like that. That's creepy. But you know what I mean? Like having that, like, that guy got me. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's one thing that I noticed. Because I see it from my students, and a lot of them are so excited to just like, Kuya, we want to just go battle. We just want to try it all. We want to try it all. So how about you guys? What are the things that you've seen, you've experienced, or you also foresee? PJ,
That's a
go.
hard question to ask.
Yeah.
Because at this point in stage, it's like germination. And you just got a seed and you don't know yet what will come out. It's like you got a mystery seed from Shopee Lazada and you're going to plant it like a planting of like that. And it comes out and you're just like, oh, that's what I ordered pala. But that's where it is. But to a degree, I'm really excited because, well, from a teacher manager of Gotangco and James
Mm.
standpoint of view, I'm at the point where I'm mentoring people on how to be more sustainable in their art and in their craft, and how to deal with the changing times, because we're in a different, as you say, season, period, whatever term we have for it. Yeah, it's really transforming how dance is relevant in society now, and how we can become economical through it. Because that for many, the pandemic really gave us very little options for work. So I'm at the point where I'm working with my team on how to make dance still a viable economical source of income. And it's a struggle because many dancers really don't want to deal with the business side, don't want to deal with packaging themselves as a product. And that for me is one side of my mentorship program, because I'm seeing that it works. It's starting to work for me. Packaging yourself, this is what I offer, and those that want it can get it. So I'm trying to help my dancers package their product so that their voice will be economical for them. And then on the student side naman, I'm really excited to see my students. So I've talked with some of them, and some of them message me talaga. And then at this point, we're like, PJ, we need a goal. What's our goal? So we go, we should share the stage. So the goal is, at the end of all this, when we get back to live performance, we should be able to share the stage, that you are equipped not to look stupid beside me. My goal is that, yeah, you shine, baby. That's the goal. So that for me now is where it's funny you made me articulate that. I never even thought about that now. So until now. So now I articulated it. I can put it in my goal chart. That's my goal. I have two goals: for my students to dance with me, and for my team to be economically viable despite the challenges of the pandemic. So thank you for that, Reflex.
Awesome. You know, that's another great topic, but feel ko that's for like future lectures. The economics of the dance community. My gosh. But anyway, we're not gonna dive into that today. So you guys gotta stay tuned for future talks. So let me pass the mic to Shayna. Any last 2 cents?
Just on anything. Story.
Yeah, just generally like on the benefits of the mentoring, the value of mentoring, whether mentoring programs or just the mentor-mentee relationship, or yeah, anything around under that that scope of ideology that you think is or could be beneficial for our community or your studio community, or just even as dancers.
Okay. I don't know, like, I guess I'll just talk about what I really found interesting during the pandemic, like, and what was kind of really inspiring from the dance community was people really went beyond dance and looked for inspiration in different art forms in order to express themselves. And I guess during this time, you know, we're all going through a lot, mentally, physically, so many things happening. And me personally, I was able to create a film during this time. So I've been working on it for the last 6 weeks, and it's actually on mental health and depression. And I'm sure a lot of people kind of went through that during this time, and I was able to showcase it through dance.
What's the title?
It's called Unravel.
What are the details?
Register on my link in the bio. I'm
There you
really
go.
bad at this. I can't become a vlogger.
Consistency and persistence, right, PJ?
That's why Reflex is there. Reflex will fish it
Yeah.
out of you.
Yeah. But yeah, just like I just love, and it's not just me. Like, I think a lot of people have kind of expressed themselves and used dance as a form of healing throughout this time. And for me, it was really nice to see the whole industry kind of come together and support that. Yeah.
Awesome. Healing. Yes. Kakaibang healing ang sayaw dito sa ating ang hirap magtagalog here in this period of pandemic. All right. Nag-stop na ako dun eh. Okay. Last but not least, James, anything you want to share?
Sayang yun ah.
Oh, my momentum blocked.
I think siguro we discussed this with Maya before. We had a certain talk with Maya talking about the benefits of or the silver linings in terms of like what's happening now. So siguro I'm just gonna nag-prepare ako ng presentation for it. Joke lang.
Here we go, PowerPoint.
Siguro I think one is it opened a lot of options for students. It opened a lot of options to see like there's more to dance than just the usual things that we see. Even if it's a lot of options before, like the options of how to learn and who to learn from, I think that became another option for people. And what kind of level am I gonna, am I gonna take? Hindi lang siya, do I take this kind of class? Hindi lang siya ganun eh. A lot of options na, I want to take a class from this person or this person. So the options are then giving the students or the people or the artists different ways then to create. So if they're learning from somebody, then you can see na parang, ito yung result ng mentorship na with Shayna, with PJ. Ito pala yun. This is what it looks like. Hindi na siya like one, siguro, like for example, sa street dance community, hindi lang siya, it's not just usually a concert, or a recital. Hindi na lang yun yung end goal, yung end product. Sometimes the student mismo ay gumagawa ng sariling video or they show that this is what I learned, this is how I look now because I went through this mentorship. So nagkakaroon ng diversity of ng creativity, I guess, because of the options that they have. And then next, for the teachers, it's actually pushing the teachers to get better at teaching. So parang for me, like if you really want to get the job, you have to be more than just teacher now. You have to be more than just like a styles teacher or like a street dance. That you have to offer something na siguro not say generic, but something special, something that makes your class, that makes your mentorship or whatever programs, like desirable, and it's pushing street dancers who are not really good at packaging themselves, and me included. I only started branding myself this pandemic, so parang for me, like I needed to learn that, and I got help from my bro Ian, Heavy Boogie. He made my branding, the whole thing. So it connects artists then, like different fields in a way. So like, we need each other for like marketing, whatever. And then being able to be pushed to teach better is like gonna help our community raise the standard of education, raise the standard of the result, and raise the standard of our rates. Because like even if it like economics, diba? Even if we're struggling right now, like the artist world can actually thrive when we know how to like use, or when we know what our value is, especially right now. Like TikTok has made dance available for everybody. So alam mo yun, like because dance is worldwide right now. Dance is crazy. It's not just a hobby anymore, or wedding hobby, but it can be something more than that. So like it pushes the rates and the value of our industry. And then last is the technology. Even if the pandemic ends, we will always learn in our heads that I can just message this person, like even if he's from the States or Europe or Japan or whatever. Access to education is not limited to your local scene anymore. So you don't need to rely on your heads or the people of authority in your scene. You can actually go directly to the people who you want to learn from. Just the DM, because they're also learning how to provide online services, diba? So it's a win-win for both of you. So
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I could say that the mentoring program, whether as a mentor-mentee relationship or just as a program in itself, has been a rare or even untapped platform for further education and molding of personhood, or you as an artist for the past few years, especially for the upcoming generation. And I guess silver lining ng pandemic is that it actually brought out that platform, and a lot of the young students these days and the young artists are realizing that, hey, there are a lot of different modes for education, and mentoring is another mode that you can get into. And of course, if you get into mentoring, there are so many technical aspects that we we can also talk about, like, as a teacher, as a mentor, how do you set goals? How do you mentor other students? What experiences do all of us have as mentors that could maybe also help other people who want to get into mentoring? And all of these questions will be answered tomorrow in the next episode of, I don't know what title of this talk is yet, but
Rise
Manila
of the
Talks.
Mentor. Di ba Rise of the Mentor? Yun, di ba? O hindi?
Ganun ba?
Rise of the Mentors. Yeah.
Yes, it's the same. Rise of the Mentors pa rin.
Rise of the
As in,
Mentors. There you go.
Rise of the Mentor.
Rise. All right. So we're gonna have that talk tomorrow. Again, shout outs to Move Manila for holding this talk. Please follow everyone here on their. Actually, you know what? Can you guys real quick just share your I don't remember everyone. Share your social media accounts, your handles, whatever. Let's go. Let's start with Shayna. Go for it. Nude floor. Go.
Nude floor. Oh,
And
what?
you wanna say your Instagram and Twitter
The show.
and your
Oh, yeah.
show, everything.
Yes, please sign up to register to know more about the show. Yeah, you can go on Nude Floor's page and the link is just on there. Or you can follow me too. Mine's Shayna Lane.
There you go. Shayna Lane on IG and Twitter, maybe, and
I don't
Shayna
have
Cua on
Twitter.
Facebook. I don't know if you have Twitter.
I don't have Twitter. I don't
Okay.
have Facebook.
Facebook or Instagram or Nude Floor on Facebook. Let's go to PJ.
Okay, I'm gonna do it for Shayna. I'm gonna be the vlogger for Shayna. Unravel is happening next weekend. They've got 4 days of shows, several shows in a day of a dance film directed by Shayna Lane and choreographed by Shayna Lane with beautiful artists such as JB Estrada, Abby Manoto, Christina Jimenez, correct?
Jimenez.
And
Jimenez.
there's one more guy,
Andrew Bermudo.
Drew.
Andrew Bermudez. There you go. It's a short dance film and there's limited capacity. So if you want to watch, head on to Nude Floor or Shayna Lane, click the link in the bio and reserve one of the 8 seats. Sa Feb 7, 11 o'clock, kulang na ng dalawa kasi I'll be there. So see you there.
Hey.
Thank you, PJ.
Thanks, PJ. PJ, do you want to share sa likha or galaw, your handles?
Yeah. Likha right now is a little bit on hiatus, but please follow us because we're going to start having initiatives again by the second quarter of this year. That's Likha PH, a dance movement for dancers by dancers. I'm the founder of Galao.co, and currently we're doing an extension of our current intensive. So that's 4 weeks of progressive training. We start in a week. So if you want to sign up, just join the classes. One class is as inexpensive as one frappuccino at Starbucks. So if you can afford Starbucks, you can afford a dance class. That's what I'm saying. After that, we're planning another super cycle, so stay tuned for that. It's at galao.co. Best on Instagram. I reply faster there. Peace out.
Awesome. Thanks, PJ. James.
Sobrang pro ni PJ. Grabe yung pag...
Yeah, I know.
No, it's like, I can watch this on YouTube. Ang galing eh. Sobrang galing eh. Sorry.
Peace out.
He knows it.
Sabay na, may practice last year.
We need to get that skill, Shayna. We need to...
No.
Magpa-mentor kayo. Ayun! Pumasok.
Rise up.
All right. Okay, so yeah, James, your handles, your programs.
Yeah, so shucks na kahiya pala when it's your turn. So yeah, I'm still doing my unlock mentorship programs. If you want to learn different dance styles or freestyle, just send me a message. You can learn one-on-ones or through small groups. And yeah, stay tuned. Tonight is the last night of the Unlock Challenge. So the people who have taken the challenge for a month are posting all their last performances tonight. So follow the hashtag Unlock Challenge 2021. So, and the announcement of the one winner who will be my mentee, my partner this year is going to be tomorrow night. Yun lang. So you know, it's just a lot of people who went through a lot of just some challenges. But yeah, like and you know, I also have this upcoming Unlock Teachers Camp. So if you want to get like a glimpse of how what Unlock my unlock program happens, and some teaching tools that I learned from my mentors as well, and my teaching mentors too. You can sign up. That's a 1 month program too. So that's going to be happening next week. Yeah, so send me a message if you're a dance teacher or an aspiring street dance teacher. It's all on street dance. Yun lang yung mga cover ko. That's all I teach. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, we're gonna talk about teaching. Yun lang. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, James. And last but not least, you guys can also follow me at Reflex Gotangco on Instagram and Jesse Go Space Tanko on Facebook. It's not really my real last name. It's spelled differently because my last account got deactivated. Thank you so much, Facebook. But anyway, yeah, you guys can also message me for my mentoring programs, and I also do a couple other stuff. And yeah, I have this new program coming up called I'm gonna lock you in program, where basically if James opens your mind, I'm gonna close your mind again. I'm just gonna be like, don't do that. Just follow what I say. All right, just kidding. So yeah, so yes, we're gonna be back tomorrow for the next episode. That's the stupidest thing, stupidest idea. We're gonna be back tomorrow with more talks about mentoring. But to close off, let me call back to the stage, to this round table, Mr. JB Estrada.
Hey, thank you guys. Can you hear me? I'm not.
Mentor JB.
Ganda, super. So, insightful. Actually, yung pinaka-takeaway ko, yung kay PJ, sabi niya, your goal is to not look stupid beside me.
Yes.
Sobrang para ako,
There's something
I
you can
love
tell
it.
your student, no?
That's amazing. I love that.
Sure.
Hey, don't look
But-
stupid beside me.
but it speaks so much of, how it's not just like,
Yeah.
parang, ano lang to, easy peasy thing to do. It's really an investment. So, and speaking of investment, thank you guys for investing your time here and for listening to these awesome speakers. We'll be back tomorrow for more talk about mentorship programs, like in terms of methodologies and do you think you're ready to mentor people or not? So so thank you guys for tuning in to Move Manila Live. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.
Buy some Yolis.
Bye some Yoli.